So start off with a volume pedal, like usual. And then we are going to put in not an amp with the cap combination, but just a single amp. And for this time, I'm going for the US double VIP. I like the clean tone of it, and we have to put in a cabinet now. Not going for the duo cabinets, really they're interesting to check out, but this time I just for I take a simple single one, the Jazz Rivet. So we start to find for a sweet spot of the amp. Every amp has a sweet spot, so I'm doing this by turning down the bass mid treble. Turn down the drive too, or leave it low because I really want to hear the clear tone. The rest I don't really touch. Leave the master full and the channel volume is okay for me. To find the sweet spot for the amp, try to find where the bass, mid, and treble kicks in if you play an open string. The mid is a little bit more difficult. I feel it's around 5.5 somewhere. Yeah. You can hear it coming in around 5. Like 5.5. For the cabinet, I'll leave it as it is. So to create a sound, a simple sound, I just put in a simple delay. A stereo one, stereo effect, because we're after the amp and the cabinet, so I like to use stereo in my sounds. And normally, I don't like to use delay directly in the single part, unless I really am looking for this kind of effect. So I put it on a parallel path, so that it's not really interfering with the direct guitar sound. Just track it down, choose the split AB, and let it have 40% of the signal path going to the delay, and set the mix of delay to 100. So we use it really as a send effect. I make a copy of this block because I want to paste it in the upper path to make a comparison. And I set here the mix to 40% like it was before, just to make a comparison. And now we're looking to put in a Trinity chorus, stereo one also. I know there are people out there who really hate chorus. I like it. If you use it very, very little, very subtle, it's a nice effect still. Even though it has this 80s etiquette, a tiny bit of chorus just to thicken up the clean sound. I really like that. Of course, this is personal, and everybody can use whatever he likes. I think personally the Trinity chorus is really interesting chorus. So to hear the difference, I just use only the A path, so the upper path, the direct path, and listen to the delays. The delays are modulated also. it sounds more muddled up for me, like the attack and the delays fall together. So now we go back, put the path to 60 to have also 40% of the effect. And now for me, it sounds more detailed, it's more clear, and everything has its proper space. Of course, it's very subtle and you have to listen carefully, but it really cleans up the sound of your guitar. So now to cut out some frequencies, I use my everyday DAW, Cubase. I use Cubase to clear up the guitar sounds a little bit. We have to cut out some frequencies and make some room for bass, kick drum, and even the other instruments on stage or in the studio. And these DAWs have normally plugins, very good equalizer plugins. They allow you to analyze in more detail the frequency spectrum and how to manipulate, where to cut out bad frequencies we don't want, or even enhance slightly the frequencies we do want. So in Cubase, I will use a new EQ. It's called frequency, and it's very good for this job. Let's see. And the first thing we do is I put in a low shelf. So I want to cut out all the low frequencies under 120, something like that. This lower area is normally only reserved for kick, drums, and bass. You don't want a guitar in there, neither on stage, neither on the studio. But there is another frequency for clean sound I really like, around 125. Which I enhanced a little bit by modifying the Q factor. Yes, you can see. Around 250 Hertz. I know there is a nasty one. Oh, I don't like this, so we cut it out. And I think with the Q factor around 7.5, 8, something like that. Here we take out a lot of mud of the sound. Another frequency which is to take care of is around 500 Hertz. You have to look for it because you can hear it. You have to look for this yourself a little bit because it depends on your guitar, on your monitor system. I put in a high shelf to enhance a little bit the upper frequency, the high frequencies of the guitar sound, to make it a little bit brighter so that it can cut a little bit more into the mix. It's more standing out. Just slightly. Don't overdo this. Don't change the sound too much. Just make it a little bit brighter and more detailed. Let's listen to it, but when bypassed. You can clearly hear now. It's filling up all space. It's taking up all the frequencies and even bad ones I don't like. Listen now. It's clear. It clears up. We did not change the character of the sound. It stays the same. But it's more detailed, more clear. so much more clear. And now we have some space for bass and keyboards and whatever. And less need for loudness war on stage where everybody's cranking up the volume to be heard. Now we go back to Helix and we put in an equalizer, the parametric one. So we'll start off with cutting out the low frequency around, let's say, 120 Hertz, like I did before in Cubase. And after I go to enhance slightly, my bass frequency I really like around 125, because it's a nice frequency. Not too much. Then go to the 250 Hertz with a Q of 7.5, and listen, it's a boxy sound. I personally don't like it very much, so I cut this one out. And it's a frequency space where all the other instruments are also be present, so we don't want to be there too much. Then we go to the 500 Hertz. It's a little bit nasal-like sound. And I cut this one out for -2.5. This is with and without. With without, and you can hear all the harmonics and they're coming in again. I think we managed to clean up the sound of this guitar patch. And just to show you that not all the amps are kicking in around 5 for the bass, mid and treble. We just take another amp I prepared before already. It's the British Plexi. Nowadays, amp modeling algorithmics are so much more sophisticated than they were before. It's so real now that you really can dial in a sweet spot with an amp modeler like we did before on a real tube amp. Line 6 really did a great job with the Helix. So the bass kicks in earlier on this amp. And the treble, it's just reacting earlier than with the clean amp before. And there we have it. I did the equalizing like we did before in Cubase, and put in some effects, bring back the drive of the British Plexi. Just play, have fun.